They don't start by hurting you. They start by studying you. The most dangerous manipulators are not chaotic, random, or impulsive. They are calculated as hell. They treat you like a project, a profile, a data set. Before they ever pull a big move, they already know your weak spots, your guilt buttons, your attachment style, and what you're most afraid of losing. In the next 9 minutes, you're going to see exactly how manipulators secretly study you before they strike, and how to make yourself very, very hard to use. The first thing a manipulator does when they meet you is scan you. Not romantically, not spiritually, tactically. Psychology research on interpersonal manipulation shows that manipulators consciously look for traits they can exploit: people-pleasing, low self-esteem, high guilt sensitivity, and fear of conflict. They watch how often you apologize, how quickly you agree, whether you laugh at jokes that are actually disrespectful. They notice if you say things like, "Sorry, that was stupid," or "I'm probably overreacting," because that tells them you're already used to gaslighting yourself. They also scan your environment. Do you talk shit about your friends but still hang out with them? Do you complain about your partner but never leave? Do you let your boss walk all over you? That tells them your tolerance for disrespect is high and your boundaries are low. Then comes phase 2, mirroring and rapport building. Narcissistic mirroring is a documented tactic where they quickly study your personality, interests, and beliefs, then reflect them back to you so you feel like you've met your twin flame or perfect friend. They listen extra closely when you talk about music, politics, spirituality, trauma, or what you really want in a partner. 15 minutes later, they magically have the same taste, the same opinions, and the same values. Manipulation research calls this the friendship trick, using charm, similarity, and flattery to lower your guard before any real ask is made. So you think, "Wow, no one's ever understood me like this." What's really happening is, "Wow, this person is recording everything I'm saying and playing it back to me as a costume." Phase 3 is where it gets dark, deep data extraction. They start asking very specific questions about your childhood, your exes, your biggest regrets, the one thing you could never forgive, the thing you're most ashamed of. At first, it feels like emotional intimacy. In reality, it's emotional reconnaissance. Psychologists note that manipulators and narcissists deliberately gather information on their targets, fears, insecurities, triggers so they can weaponize it later when they need leverage. Some will even keep receipts, screenshots of your texts, recordings of your breakdowns, notes about what you said during vulnerable moments. Not because they care that much, but because they know information is currency in future smear campaigns, gaslighting, or blackmail. If you notice someone is insanely interested in your traumas but weirdly vague about theirs, you're not bonding, you're being mapped. At the same time, they're cataloging your reward system. Research on manipulation shows that manipulators control people through positive reinforcement, praise, gifts, attention, and negative reinforcement, removing stress when you comply. So they watch. What makes your eyes light up? Do you melt when someone validates your intelligence, your looks, your hard work? Do you crave being chosen, being prioritized, being finally understood? They log that. Then they start pairing those rewards with your compliance. You say yes, they flood you with affection. You disagree? Suddenly they go cold, distant, or mildly punishing. Over time, your nervous system starts chasing the reward and avoiding the withdrawal, and you think, I just don't want to upset them. In reality, you've been trained like a lab rat. Then comes phase 4, testing your limits. Manipulators don't go straight to extreme abuse. They start with tiny boundary violations to see how you respond. They show up late a few times, make a joke that's actually an insult, forget to pay you back, flirt with someone else in front of you, then say you're too sensitive when you react. Each microtest tells them something. If you laugh it off, they mark you as someone who will tolerate disrespect. If you cry and then apologize, they mark you as easy to guilt trip. If you fight but then stay, they mark you as high drama, low departure risk. A 2024 review of manipulation tactics notes that manipulators deliberately escalate and de-escalate pressure to map exactly how far they can push without losing the target. It's not random, it's calibration. Once they've studied you, they know which toolkit to use. Classic manipulation research identifies patterns. Some people respond best to charm and flattery, others to guilt and fear, others to authority or scarcity. If you're agreeable and conflict avoidant, they'll lean hard on guilt-tripping and "you're not like other people, you'd never do that to me" narratives. If you're ambitious and status-driven, they'll use authority, exclusivity, and future-faking, "only you understand me, only you will be by my side when I make it." If you have a history of abandonment, they'll use threats of withdrawal and silent treatment to keep you anxiously attached. None of this is random. It's behavioral, targeting dark psychology's version of personalized ads. They also rehearse your reality for you. Emotional manipulation literature describes gaslighting as a systematic effort to make you doubt your own memory, perception, and sanity. Because they've studied your triggers, they know exactly how to spin events so you're more likely to blame yourself. They'll say, "You're so sensitive, no one else would react like that," if they know you're already afraid of being too much. Or, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me," if they know you struggle with guilt and over-responsibility. Over time, your brain stops asking, "Is this person fucked up?" and starts asking, "What's wrong with me?" Here's the fucked up part. Not all manipulators are fully conscious of how strategic they're being. Some absolutely are. They'll admit they study people to exploit them. Others learned these patterns growing up and now run them on autopilot, scanning for weakness, pushing guilt, weaponizing silence, mirroring for approval. Studies on manipulative interaction show that manipulation can be both deliberate and habitual, something people do automatically to get their way, even if they'd never call it manipulation. That's why you can't rely on their intent to protect you. You have to rely on your pattern recognition. So how do you stop being easy to study? First, stop oversharing early. Emotional manipulators love fast intimacy because it gives them fast intel. Healthy people will respect gradual trust. Manipulators will push for your life story in week 1. Make it a rule: no trauma dumping, no deepest secrets, no detailed attachment wounds with anyone who hasn't earned it over time through consistent behavior. Second, watch who asks and who shares. If someone is oddly obsessed with your inner world but strangely blank about theirs, that's not intimacy, that's interrogation. Third, notice how they handle no. A non-manipulative person might be disappointed but respects it. A manipulator will sulk, guilt, argue, or twist your no into a character flaw because your boundaries fuck up their script. Fourth, assume that anything you say can be used later if someone has already shown manipulative patterns. That doesn't mean living paranoid. It means being aware that narcissists and toxic people routinely recycle your old confessions during arguments, smear campaigns, or control attempts. If you've seen them violate others' privacy reading messages, spying, sharing secrets, you are not the exception. You're data to them, not family. Finally, understand this being targeted doesn't mean you're weak. It usually means you're empathetic, open, and emotionally expressive, exactly the traits manipulators know how to exploit. The solution is not to become cold or heartless. It's to combine your empathy with discernment. You don't stop being kind, you stop being transparent to anyone who hasn't earned access to your inner world. Once you see how they study you, you stop giving them the textbook. You are not too trusting in some random way. You are specifically profiled by someone who knows exactly what to look for. The good news? Once you understand their process, you become boring to manipulate and expensive to access. If this woke something up in you, watch the next video about how truly dangerous people stay calm while everyone else is losing it. Because emotional control is the one thing every manipulator fucking hates.